What's going on, guys? Krusty K's here from the Goal Boys Network, coming to you with the MLB slate preview for September 4th. Took a bit of a hiatus here, had a long vacation, much needed. Ready to jump back into it, ready to talk some MLB with you guys. Before we hop into this, I want to remind you all, you can get all these odds at FanDuel Sportsbook. Let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right into this slate. So our first one, the Philadelphia Phillies taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. Christopher Sanchez versus Bowden Francis. As we all know, Bowden Francis has been absolutely outstanding this season. One of the lowest ERAs in all of baseball over the last month. Surely that continues, right? So for me in this one, total at 8.5. I was a little surprised to see a total that high, given the pitchers in this matchup and given how well they've been pitching. So for me here, I do like Philadelphia on the money line. I think this could be one of those spots where Bowden finally, kind of comes back to reality. He's been really good. He took a no-hitter into the ninth 2 games ago, 117 pitches. This last start, pitched really well once again against the Boston team, who just made a ton of weak contact early, ultimately pulled him at 72 pitches, likely due to the 117 pitch outing the outing before. So I do expect him to be on a normal leash here, but I also do expect him to get touched up a little bit. Give me the Philadelphia Phillies on the money line. Our next one, the Chicago White Sox taking on the Baltimore Orioles. Jonathan Cannon versus Albert Suarez. An incredibly tough game to find value in. The Orioles at minus 325 on the money line, absolutely disgusting. I would never tell anybody to put that in anything. I don't care how free it is, how free it looks. You won't catch me playing it or using it in any form or fashion. So for me, Orioles team total over here. I just like them to continue to put up runs against this White Sox team. We saw it today. The game is going on right now. It's already 7-0, I believe, in the third. This Orioles team just locked in at the plate, and you're facing a really bad pitching staff from the White Sox. Jonathan Cannon has been, fairly consistent for them, but he's a guy who struggles against lefties. He's going to see a ton of good lefties in this lineup. I really think he struggles in this spot. Give me the Orioles team total over. Our next one, the Houston Astros taking on the Cincinnati Reds. Spencer Arrighetti versus Nick Martinez. It's the Astros for me here. Really simple. Arrighetti's just been really good. And he gets a Reds team who's just, they're about league average versus right-handed pitching the last 30 days. And the K percent, obviously, a bit of an issue for them. I think Arrighetti can rack them up. I think he can pitch really well here. And I think Nick Martinez struggles to work through this Astros lineup. Wouldn't be surprised if he has a relatively short outing in this one. Hey guys, I just want to give a quick reminder that new users can bet $5 at FanDuel on any of the bets in this video and win $150 in bonus bets if the bet wins. Now let's get back to the bets. Our next one, the Washington Nationals taking on the Miami Marlins. Mackenzie Gore versus Valente Beloso. For me here, it's the over. It's a little scary because both these offenses kind of inconsistent, kind of stink if we're being completely honest. But I just want to see some runs. I think that both these pitchers can struggle. I think both pitchers struggle with command at times. And ultimately, I think we're going to see some base traffic here. Should lead to some runs. Think this thing does go over. So give me the over 8.5 here in the Nationals-Marlins game. Our next one, the Minnesota Twins taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. Pablo Lopez versus Taj Bradley. I'm going to take a stab at the Nerfy here, the no runs in the first inning. I really didn't have a good feel for this game. I'm a big Taj Bradley guy. Twins have been striking out a bit more as of late, so I really do think Taj racks them up here. But I'm going to go with the no runs in the first inning. Trust these guys to get us 6 outs, and we can get the heck out of this one. That's all I got for that one. Our next one, the Boston Red Sox taking on the New York Mets. Tanner Houck versus Tyler McGill. So I'm going to go with the Red Sox in the first 5. I think Houck pitches really well. I don't want to trust their bullpen, though, so I'm going to leave them out of it. McGill's a guy who I always like to say is going to get probably 2 or 3 runs. Might get a whole bunch of strikeouts, might not. You really never know with this guy. He's a bit of a wild card. But I do believe he gives up at least a few runs, gets us across here with this Red Sox first 5.
Wait, before we get back to the picks, I wanted to thank you all for watching. Friends don't let friends watch videos without hitting the like button. So go ahead and press the thumbs up button and like the video. If you're new here and not subscribed, you should go ahead and do so because we're dropping new content each and every day on the Goal Boys Network. We strive to cover every sport and give out picks and analysis and valuable information for free on the Goal Boys Network. So make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell so you can get notified when we drop something new. I'm Brad Thomas. Let's get back to the picks.
Our next one, the Colorado Rockies taking on the Atlanta Braves. Brady Blaylock versus Charlie Morton. Give me the over. So, I mean, obviously, I think the Braves win. I mean, they're facing Brady Blaylock. They should absolutely scorch this kid. But I think Morton give up a few too and at least help get us to this total. I like the over 8.5. I think it's a bit too low. Do think we see this thing, upwards of 10 runs with relative ease. Our next one, the Cleveland Guardians taking on the Kansas City Royals. Ben Lively versus Seth Lugo. This is an awesome game. These two teams have been battling it out for the AL Central. I'm going to go with the Guardians here in game one. Definitely it won't be a popular pick. Royals handled business against the Guardians in their series that was in Cleveland. But I kind of like Cleveland to get a little bit of revenge here. We saw Naylor and J-Ram starting to stroke it a bit. And I think that continues. I like those bats to stay hot. I like them to get some runs off of Lugo. And I think Lively can pitch relatively well against a team who's been really aggressive at the plate, having some shorter ABs. So give me the Guardians here at plus money on the road. Our next one, the Pittsburgh Pirates taking on the Chicago Cubs. Bailey Falter versus Shota Imanaga. I mean, they obviously plays the Cubs. I mean, I like it. I don't know what their money line's going to be. I'm assuming it's going to be pretty juiced. But I like the Cubs on the money line. I just think they get the Falter. This is a team that's starting to swing the bats well. Really seeming, competitive as of late. And I think that continues. Give me the Cubs on the money line. If it's too juiced, I think the -1.5's in play. But for now, we'll just say Cubs money line. Next one, the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. Sonny Gray versus Colin Rea. I mean, the only reason this game is priced the way it is because of Sonny Gray, and I'm not buying that. Sonny Gray has been abysmal on the road. I will take a shot at the Brewers at home at plus money. It feels like it's too good to be true. Like I said, Sonny Gray getting a bit of line respect here, unwarranted in my opinion. If you've watched this guy, he's completely different home and away. Colin Rea is a guy who, as much as I want to say he stinks, he always finds a way to pitch well, so I think he does end up giving them a solid 5-6 innings here. Give me the Brewers at plus money at home. I will take that price, and I will live with the result. Our next one, the New York Yankees taking on the Texas Rangers. Marcus Stroman versus Nathan Eovaldi. So, for me here, I have a hard time trusting Stroman. I don't want to trust Eovaldi, but that's where I'm going to go. I lean the over. I couldn't quite get there. So for me, I'm going to go with the Rangers on the money line. I think Eovaldi pitches relatively well against this team. It's a team that's obviously seen him a lot when he pitched in Boston. I think he can find success here. So give me the Rangers here on the money line in a game that likely goes over. Like I said, I think we see some runs, but I'll take a shot here on the Rangers on the money line. Our next one, the Dodgers taking on the Angels. Bobby Miller versus Griffin Canning. Give me the Dodgers team total over. I do like the Dodgers on the money line, but it's tough to get there at Bobby Miller. This is a guy who's been largely inconsistent this season. Does get a good matchup, though, to pitch relatively well against a pretty inferior lineup, in my opinion. So if you wanted to go with the Dodgers on the money line, I think it's a worthy pick. But I think the value here lies on the Dodgers team total. I think they absolutely torch Griffin Canning. This is a guy who struggled all season. Dodgers finally getting healthy. I think those bats come to play. Give Bobby Miller some run support here. Our next one, the Detroit Tigers taking on the San Diego Padres. Kiter Montero versus Yu Darvish. So Yu Darvish making his first start in months. We're talking months here. I expect him to be limited in some capacity. Don't think that the Padres are going to let him have at it. For me here, I mean, I like the Padres. I'm going to isolate to the Padres in the first 5 -0.5. I think Darvish pitches relatively well. He gets a good matchup here. You get a Tigers team that's not hitting very well over the last 30 days. So it's a team that, in my opinion, he can take advantage of. Darvish was not very good prior to injury. Do think he pitches a bit better here, though, in this one. So give me the Padres -0.5 a run in the first 5. Our next one, the Seattle Mariners taking on the Oakland Athletics. George Kirby versus JP Sears. It's going to be Oakland for me here. Oakland on the money line. Won't be a popular pick, but George Kirby on the road, extremely fadeable. This Oakland team, oddly good at home. Kirby, as we all know, a guy who likes to be in the zone and around the zone. Last year, he got a lot more whiffs. This year, guys kind of sitting on it and making a lot of contact, and he's really struggled, honestly, this season, especially away from home. So give me Oakland here at plus money. I think JP Sears pitched relatively well against the Seattle lineup that, while they are striking out a bit less, they still remain one of the worst hitting teams in all baseball. So I'll trust JP Sears to navigate this lineup. Our next one and the last one on the slate, the Arizona Diamondbacks taking on the San Francisco Giants. Zach Gallen versus Hayden Birdsong. So, I mean, Zach Gallen's a guy who I look to fade pretty much whenever I can. I'm just not sure this is a spot to fade him. Give me the Diamondbacks on the money line. It's more of a, I think Birdsong gets into trouble here against this Diamondbacks lineup than it is I necessarily think Gallen pitches well. I just think Gallen pitches better than Birdsong. Ultimately, gives up less runs and does enough to get us to win. So give me the Diamondbacks on the money line here. That does conclude our slate, though. If you guys do me a favor, drop a like, drop a comment. Let me know what you guys are playing. Before we hop off, I will give you guys my 3 best bets, as always. So number 1, we're going with the Orioles team total over. Absolutely love that. Number 2, we are going to go with the Nerfy in the Twins-Rays game. And number 3, we are going to go with the Diamondbacks on the money line. As always, you can get all of my official plays at goldboys.com. If you have a gambling problem, dial 1-800-GAMBLER. Thank you, guys.